Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do very similar jobs on two Mazda CX-5s. The one behind me, the red one, just came today, and the other one which is here with us for quite a long time. So get in touch with us if you want to get your Mazda fixed by us. Also, we work on any other cars. We just get the most requests for these Mazdas, especially the 2.2 Skyactiv diesel. So let me tell you a little bit of a history of this one. Owner has low oil pressure warning, so the yellow exclamation mark in a yellow triangle coming up, having the fault code of P06DE related to the low oil pressure. I've checked at over 70 degrees of engine oil temperature. The oil pressure at idle is 120 kPa, too low. At 2000 RPM it doesn't even reach 160, and above 3,500 RPM it doesn't go above 220, so it's way too low. I suspect the oil strainer blocked, but what he came for, we're going to remove the valve cover and check the exhaust camshaft, and the same way we're going to replace the injector washers and the valve cover gasket. I can see it has never been removed, neither the intake manifold, and also the owner asked me if we can do check the carbon buildup in it. How you can check it? You can remove the MAP sensor, which is just inside the intake manifold, but I'm 100% sure every single one will have that clogged up with carbon, so we can do an inspection thing. But again, I told him I'm again 100% sure that it will have the carbon buildup already developed on his one, so it's not really point in it unless he wants to go forward. But he said okay, let's just check the inspection, and then he will decide from there. So in this video I'm going to do a tutorial what tools you will need in order to remove the valve cover, and how to do it exactly. And also, if the camshaft will be worn, I will include that into the video. Maybe I'll do a second part of it, I'll see. I don't know how long this one will be. And in the meanwhile, Dan is going to be working on the other CX-5. Same thing. We've done a DPF cleaning on it. We've done a few stuff. That's the one where Dan found out the issue about that turbo pressure sensor. So that's replaced, that's sorted now. DPF is clean now. Now he's getting the P0101 coming up, and the vacuum pump values are way too high. So it's going to have a new vacuum pump, and I suspect the camshaft is worn and hence the vacuum pump went bad. So then he's going to remove that valve cover, and once we removed of that one as well, I'm going to show you the condition of it, and this one I'm going to do a proper tutorial on it. So here we are looking at the engine bay. I have already removed the beauty cover and that metal looking heat shield from over the DPF sensor and the exhaust pressure sensor. As I said, the drive belt is cracked. I suggest replacement of it, but basically let me show you first the tools what you're gonna need for it. This is not necessary, but it's handy, so a power tool. But you will need definitely a ratchet, this little pry tool for various these kind of tabs, so you can just pry them out. You will need pliers for these hose clamps, let's say. I also tend to use a drop of silicone spray on the hoses, so it will the clamps will slide a lot more easier on them. You will need a long needle nose pliers. If you're doing you won't need this one for this job, so because I'm going to remove the intake manifold too, that's why I need this. So where I use it for that clamp which is down there. So for the valve cover removal, actually you don't need it. Further, I'm going to use two screwdrivers for these kind of tabs, especially the ones on the injectors. So I just pinch them from both sides. That's what I found that's the easiest or the most convenient how to undo them or unclip them. So I can put them aside. You will need a size 17mm spanner for the fuel line nuts, and you will need one special fuel line wrench. So this kind of fuel line socket, because this fuel line is connected here. I'll show you better. Theoretically you don't need that, because you can have access from here. If you push this pipe or hose a bit aside so you can have access to the nut, but I prefer to use the correct tool for it. You will need 8, 10 and 12 millimeter socket for various bolts and nuts, and you will need a 14 millimeter socket for these fuel line bolts, this one, this one, this one. So basically all the fuel line bolts, a marker, so you can mark the fuel lines so you know which one goes where. You need to mark also the injectors so you know which one came out from where. You won't need this one, but where I use it, basically, for example, on the rubber hoses. So I undo the clamp, push them up, and then I put this one around the rubber hose and twist it, wiggle it, so it comes off a lot easier. I'll use a magnet for the bolts which are difficult to access, and I believe that is it. So how you start it? First, I always remove the airbox. Again, not necessary, but gives you a lot more space to work, so I always do it. There are 3 bolts, 1, 2, and I undo it always here, unclip the muff sensor just like that, unclip this tab, or I don't know what that is called exactly, and you just pull up the airbox, and here is one air hose connected. You just pull the rubber air hose out of it, and so you can remove that. The next step is the battery. The one 10 millimeter, second 10 millimeter, and 2 under the 10 millimeter nuts on the terminals. So remove the holding bracket, and then you can remove the battery. If anybody finds this one already difficult, I suggest then you don't even start it, because this is like pretty basic. So yeah, if it's difficult for you, I suggest not start this job. If you are fine with it, then you can carry on to the rest. So let me remove them 2 things first. I'll get back like what's the next step. So I have removed the airbox and the battery. I'm going to further remove the battery tray, because I'm going to remove all the EGR and intake parts, but you don't need to. If you want to, or you want to know, them bolts are 12 millimeter bolts. So the next step is, what I do is I disconnect the plugs, the connectors. So the various connectors, I'll disconnect them first, and I'll show you which one I've disconnected, because you will need like quite good access or space to move the wiring loom in order to remove the valve cover from underneath it. So now let me do that, and if there is like any trick to one of those, I'll tell you how to do it. So I have disconnected the connectors, as you can see. So one for the EGR valve, EGR cooler bypass valve, for this fuel junction, for the fuel rail from here and from the other end as well, glow plug connector, the camshaft position sensor. I disconnected the muff sensor, the connector for the muff sensor, and for the engine coolant temperature sensor, which is down there, that white one. That's a bit tricky, because sometimes this tab which you need to push, and then that's how you pull the connector off, can be facing away from you. It's a bit tricky to get hold of it or to access to it. How I do it, I always check where it is, how it is turned, and then with one hand I try to twist it, and with a long screwdriver I press down the long screwdriver and then pry off from here, if it makes any sense. So with one hand I try to press and hold it, and the other hand I'm in with the screwdriver pushing it off. You'll need to disconnect or remove one clip from here, which is this one, then various clips here, one here, another one here. Then on the valve cover there are further 2 from the top, 1, 2, 1 from the side, and also on the back or the rear, 1, 2. This is, as you can see, the upgraded sensor. You may have actually a different one. And then I'll remove the I don't actually know what sensor that is, this blue one, with the blue pin. So I remove it and disconnect the DPF sensor, exhaust pressure sensor, push it aside or back where you can see it as it is now, and disconnected the injectors. And now I'm going to mark the fuel lines and then the injectors, and going to disconnect the return line, the fuel lines, and also undo the fuel junction, put it aside, the PCV valve hose. I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to remove these two bolts for that bracket. And also, as I said, in order to push this one aside, I'll need to remove these two 8mm bolts from the fuel junction. I'll remove this vacuum hose from the vacuum pump. So once I've done that, I'll show you which one I meant exactly. So that one fuel line goes all over or connects here. And as I said, if you push this plastic pipe aside, so I disconnect it here with a 10mm nut, you can have access to it. If you don't have this special fuel line socket, which goes onto the fuel line, and you can undo it. So as I said, I'm going to undo the fuel lines and get back to you. I already undone the clamps, so I'm just going to push this one up. I've done the same with the PCV hose. I pushed it underneath the PCV valve or opening, because if you're going to remove the valve cover, it will be in the way. I have already removed the fuel return line, which is here. I removed one bolt with the washer together. It is coming from this one. This is like a flex pipe or flexible. I always like bend it, then I bend it back. I removed one nut, 10mm nut from here, and I pried that rubber bracket with a screwdriver. So now it is off. I can move this one up if I want, just like that. I'll need to, or you will need to do that too, because you'll need to remove the valve cover, and that will be in the way. I wanted to say or tell you that this bolt has washers from both sides. You see there, and from the bottom as well. Make sure you don't lose it. I have removed that long fuel line. As you can see here, it has like a one little bracket which connects here. There is an 8mm bolt. You can put it back so you know where it is coming from. And like how I removed it, obviously undone it from here and from the other end as well. And basically I just wiggled it out from its position. Now I can remove the common rail. Two 12mm nuts, one here, one there. Undo the nuts and just lift off the fuel rail. Fuel common rail removed. I undone further two 10mm bolts from that bracket, and I lifted this fuel line, as you can see. And now I can carry on with the exhaust pressure sensor bracket. So remove the first remove the two 10mm nuts, take off that top bracket, and then you can remove the 8mm bolt and take off the bottom part of the bracket. And then you can carry on with the valve cover bolts. They are size 10mm bolts. I think there are 13 of them, so make sure you remove all of them. The critical ones are from the rear. Make sure you don't lose them. That's why I use a magnet to pick them up. Then you can carry on with the injectors. Valve cover bolts are removed. Now you can remove the dipstick, and after you've done that, you can remove the injector nuts. So again, 10mm socket, undo the 8 of them, and make sure you remove those washers before you try to spray out the injectors, because they can fly all over the place. And if they lose them, only one, so they cost £10 per piece. Ask me how I know that. I use a magnet again to pick them up, but just the washers, and remove them one by one. So now that the washers and the nuts are removed from the injectors, you can remove the injectors themselves. So you can just pry them out. They should come out easily without any extra excessive force. So let me try to demonstrate and try that. Yeah, this one was easy. This is not coming. I don't want to risk breaking the valve cover. And this one came out. So now I'm going to use a special tool, like a homemade tool. Basically just a rod, tapped a thread on it. I don't know what size it is. If you want to know, ask them in the comment section. So here it is. Dan brought it to me. He's going to record me. So thread it in. It's basically a slide hammer. We just need it to make it work with these injectors. So it threads in, and now I can slide hammer them out. It is proper baked in.
Minutes later.
Okay.
Only took you 2 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah, have a look at it. It's properly baked in. Now I can remove the rest of the rest three. They should slide out easily. Here they have the copper washer, and also the one which was caked in 100%. It will have the washer still down in the injector hole. So make sure you remove that. I'll show you how to remove it, because you need a special tool for it as well. Now they are removed. You can remove the rest of the 8 injector studs. Again, 10mm socket.
And you also need a Milwaukee gun.
Not necessary.
Because without Milwaukee, he can't work.
And now, if Dan will be so kind and hold the camera, I can show how to remove the valve cover.
Of course I will. I'm gonna be your new cameraman, don't you worry.
So again, I pry it on the 2 corners, here and here, and I make sure the cabling is loose. I lift it one side and try to pull it that way a tiny bit, and now I'm going to twist it because here are the sprockets, so I need to overcome them. Okay, and now I can slide it off quite easy. As expected, solid build up around the second injector hole, solid build up around the second injector hole inside the cylinder head. And let's check that camshaft if it is worn. Yeah, it is. You can see it from here. You see that lip, so the camshaft is worn. It needs replacement. So basically that's how you remove the valve cover. Let me know if I missed anything or you are interested in how to do it. Obviously this will need a camshaft replacement, so that will be the part 2 of this video, like how to remove and replace the camshaft or how we do it. And let me show you but the car Dan worked on, how the cylinder head looks like underneath the valve cover. Here it is. The camshaft is worn on this one too. As you can see, there are those lips. Also, I have already removed the EGR and intake parts, and let's have a look at the carbon build-up. So this is from the intake port side, and let's stick down a camera down the hole. This one is actually open, as you can see. So yeah, I would say it is pretty solid, it's there. Also, this red CX-5 will have oil strainer replacement. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see how to replace that oil strainer, like a step-by-step or a tutorial video. If you would like to see it, I can make one of it. Also, we are going this week, Wednesday, 5th of June, to Automechanica Birmingham. So come and say hi. If you will be there, you can meet us there. Other than that, that was it for this video. Hope you liked it. It was somewhat valuable, entertaining at least. Please feel free to share, like, subscribe, give a super thanks if you can afford, or buy through my Amazon affiliate links, which are included in the description of the video. Also a Facebook link where you can get in touch with me. So yeah, that was it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you soon in the very next video. Take care and bye bye.